So an update on my puppy. She is now 2.5 weeks old. I'm going to talk to the breeders, see if I can get some footage of them. They're obviously not doing much yet, but in another week or two I'm going to try and get some footage of them when they're old enough to kind of move around a little more. And I'll show you an update on my little puppy and how she's developing. In the middle of October, I'm going to be flying out there to West Virginia to pick out my puppy. So I was thinking about it. I got talking to one of my buddies. He's like, you know, you should ask around. I'll bet you'll be able to find someone who can get you a ticket for cheap or free or whatever. You know, there's a lot of people who work for airlines that get free tickets or passes. And I'm like, you know what? That's a good point. I should throw it out there on YouTube. So if you guys have access somehow, if anyone out there has a way they can help me get a ticket, the airlines that fly into the airport in West Virginia where I'm going are Delta, United, and American Airlines. Anyway, if anyone could help me out, I'm not looking for donations. You know, I don't want you guys to give me money or anything. I really feel awkward asking for stuff like that. But if you have something that's already free to you anyway, you have access to free tickets somehow, hey, hook me up. So I've had a few people asking about my mink other than Mamba. So Mamba wasn't the only baby out of my litters that I kept, and obviously I still have the parents to the litters. So I wanted to show you guys some of my other mink and what I do with them kind of on a daily basis. So this is basically like my regular daily schedule and what I do every morning. So wanted to show you guys that. I've had a few different people requesting it. So first thing I do every morning is I clean out the mink pens. So I have my mink pens set up so I can clean them as quickly and easily as possible. There's two benefits in doing that. Number one is it makes it so I can clean the cages every day. So the more difficult it is to clean a cage, the less often you're going to do it. So every morning I clean the cages, quickly spray them out. So they're so sometimes they need a little more in a spray, so I've got this. This is my gross brush. I don't use it for anything but cleaning up poop. So I have the scraper on this end and the brush on this end. If there's something stuck, I can just reach in and scrape it off real quick and then spray it. I want to keep the cages as clean as possible. So another thing I do, I don't do this every day. I do it twice a week in the summer, and in the winter I do it once a week. The heat encourages bacteria growth as well as mosquito larva growth. Dump them out and scrub them out with this brush and just get them nice and clean. So I do that once a week, sometimes twice a week. In the winter it's once a week, sometimes every other week. When it's cold, you don't have mosquito larva growing, and you also don't have the bacteria growing as fast. The mink aren't swimming near as often, so the water stays fresh longer. So keep the waters clean, keep their cages clean. And then obviously I feed them. So what I do while I'm cleaning and feeding and doing my other chores, I put several mink out so they can exercise on the line. So this is Mamba's brother. His name is Bear. He's my biggest male. And Mamba, if you remember, her father is Brock. So this is Brock's son, and he is a lot like Brock. Hey, big guy. Want to come out, go on the line?
He's massive.
So look, let's get out here and I'll show you just how big this guy is. Look at this mink. He is a big boy. He's pretty nice. I wouldn't want to get on his bad side, but he's usually pretty nice to handle. But he's just like his father, very intense on prey. He's still young, so we haven't really hunted with him yet, but he's had a few little practice hunts, and he's done a very good job. A lot of confidence and a lot of prey drive. These guys, I honestly, even Bear, don't trust a ton. He's one of the nicer ones. But you notice I always got my hand around his neck. It's because I don't really trust that he's not going to bite me quite yet. But he's pretty good about the harness. You notice he's putting the harness on for me. And I kind of trust him. It's like I don't trust him. I just don't trust him completely. So I try and play it safe with him. And see, he's all excited. He wants to play now. I'm not bonded to these babies like I am Mamba. Mamba, I'm bonded to. They see me as their mom. I actually don't know what she sees me as now because she's not a baby. This is the age when they would have already left their mother. So I don't know if she really sees me as a mom, but she sees me as a friend. This guy, he just sees me as a big, a big monster, a big giant who comes out, puts him on this line, lets him have fun. He doesn't really see me as a friend, and so he very well might bite me. So I try to be careful. I'd rather not get bitten. And these guys, when they're young, they're quite playful, and the way they play is biting. So that's why I don't trust him, even if he's not intending to hurt me. He doesn't know how to be gentle like Mamba does, and he might hurt me on accident just being playful. So this is Mamba and Bear's sister. Her name's Piranha, and she's named that for a reason. I do not trust her at all. She will bite me every chance she gets. So she's very difficult to put on the line, and I need to go grab a glove to safely handle her. So give me just a moment. So Piranha, I gotta wear this big glove because she can and will bite me. She's bitten me more than all the other mink combined. Like, she doesn't just like to bite, she's smart and she finds a way when you're not paying attention to get you. So we're gonna use the glove here. Now, despite her fierceness, I actually really like her. She's my second favorite female, Mamba being my favorite, of course. But she's my second favorite, despite her bad attitude. As far as handling, she's got a good attitude for hunting. So I have high hopes for this little girl. And I hope to become her friend too. She's really a stinker, but I hope eventually as she matures we can become friends and she doesn't try and bite me so much. So when this little girl was a baby, she was the one with the red collar. So if you remember that one, she's red collar baby. Getting a harness on her without getting bit is really tricky. And as you guys already know, I'm not successful every time. I've had a lot of mistakes getting bit by her. So let's see if we could get a harness on her without any blood today. Woo! And I almost got tagged there. That was so close. Her nose literally touched my hand. Okay, sweetheart, let's put the leash on you, okay? So the reason I get bit every time is you can't do this with gloves on. I have to take the gloves off. And you see her trying to bite the leash. There we go. Haha, no blood today, no blood today. Good job, little miss. Oh, you're okay. How come you always give me troubles, huh? You're so cute. You're so cute. I want to be your friend. How come you always want to bite me? How come you always want to bite me? You need to be my friend. Yeah, you need to be my friend. You are my second favorite mink. You need to be my friend. So it's got a little stop. So they can't go all the way to the end and get tangled up at the fence. So I don't want them to be able to go all the way to the fence and get tangled or dig around or stuff. So it stops here. They can't slide any further. And it's got a little swivel on it so that the rope doesn't get all twisted. So it just spins around as they run. And see, look at her biting my boot. Like, she is such a little devil. She quit, but she was sitting here biting my boot while I was standing there. And then the line allows them to run across the yard and they can get exercise, they can play. They all have little tubs to swim in so they don't get overheated or dehydrated, and it's just fun for them. They love swimming. So we'll often leave little toys for them to play with. I guess she doesn't have any toys. They're all over here with Bear. But all of messes with the toys, so they're not always in place. So examples of toys that we leave for them to play while on the line, like this little rubber ducky. It's a good durable little rubber ducky. It's not as fragile as some. So here's another toy that we let them play with. It's a Woofle Ball. That's a safe toy that we could actually leave in their cage because it's pretty durable. They're not going to chew this up and ingest it. I would never leave a toy like this in their cage because they could just chew chunks off and ingest it and get a blockage or poison. So while I'm cleaning the cages and feeding the mink, these guys are out here running around getting some exercise. And see, one of the things they like to do, in addition to running back and forth, is this little bouncy thing. See how he's bouncing? That is great exercise. Works their back legs, builds a lot of muscle there. So they do these little bouncy things, bouncing back and forth. Olive, I'm trying to do the video. So they do bouncing back and forth, they run up and down, they swim, and it's great for them physically, gives them some exercise, and mentally it gives them something different than just the cage. They can get out and experience things. So I do that every day. Now, not every single mink gets out every single day, because the reality is I've got more mink than I can do that with. But when I feed twice a day, in the morning and at night, I rotate and let a couple mink out every day so they could get some extra exercise and extra stimulation. So when we feed each mink a specific ration, and we keep an eye on their body weight. If you overfeed mink, they'll get really fat really easily. So anyway, so you got to be really careful that you don't overfeed the mink, but you obviously don't want to underfeed the mink. So I weigh what I feed them every day, and if they need a little more, I give them a little more. If they need a little less, give them a little less. And what they need changes depending on the time of year. So when they're growing fur, right now they're starting to grow fur, their calorie needs are starting to increase. Even though the temperatures are not that different, because of their growing new fur, they need more calories. When it's really cold, they need almost double the calories as when it's really hot. So you have to be really careful you don't accidentally underfeed them, because what's an appropriate ration in the summer is totally inappropriate in the winter or while they're growing new fur. So I keep a close eye. The way I tell if they're fat or not, one way is just by eyeballing it. So I get them to stand up, and down here's where they hold their fat. And you see how she's got a little bit of jiggly fat down there? She's not too skinny. However, she's not really too fat either. She's kind of borderline. She's got a little bit too much fat. And this female I know, this is Tashishi, this female I know has a tendency to be too fat. So I have to feed her a little different than this mink. So this mink right here, her name is Abby, and she's much smaller than a lot of these black mink, and so she actually needs a little bit less food because of her smaller size. This mink, her name's Taz. She actually is a little bit smaller as well. She's bigger than little Abby, but she's quite a bit smaller than like Maher and Tashishi. But she's got a really fast metabolism, so she actually needs a little bit more food. So I just feed them each individually based off of what they need, and I keep a close eye on their fat levels. Are they starting to go up in weight? They're getting a little too fat. I need to give them a little bit of a diet. Or are they, oh man, they're looking a little bit skinny. I need to up their feed. All right, so now I'm gonna measure out their food and get them all fed here. And this is about the right amount for Tashishi. Little Miss Abby, she eats less, but I actually noticed that recently she was losing condition because she's growing fur, so she needs a little more than she usually gets. And I just keep them all appropriate to what they need. Once I've gone through and I've fed everyone, then I rotate. So the mink that are on the line, they've been out for a while, I've cleaned, I've fed, and then I feed them. Rather than just feeding them in the cage, I actually do a little bit of training with them. Bear, he's had a good, roughly an hour run around. So we're gonna feed him up. Now we're done feeding, we're done cleaning. It's his turn to have some breakfast. Come here, Bear. He can smell the meat on me, so this is a little bit of a precarious situation. I might need to go grab a glove here. Okay. I don't trust him at all right now. There, relax, buddy. I'm letting you off the line.
I need a battery.
There we go. He's trying to eat me. You smell the meat, you want to eat me. Okay, so I just turned him loose off the line. So I call him and he eats in the trap. I like training him to the trap because it does two advantages. So it's a lot easier to teach a mink to go into the trap than it is to teach him to come to your hands and let you pick him up. So it's easier. It also is useful because if you lose the mink, they already see the trap as a good place to go. So it's really easy to get them back again. You just put the trap out, a little bit of bait, and that's already their routine. They'll go right in it. Another thing is if you don't lose the mink, let's say you're just out hunting and something startles them. Sometimes a mink will get scared and they just don't react appropriately. They ignore their training and they just kind of go into this fight or flight mentality and they just become wild out of nowhere. You know, maybe a dog barked, maybe a loud truck drove by, something just kind of startles them and they just kind of lose their mind. Oh, perfect example of that's like Fang. When that bike startled her, she forgot all her training and took off into the bushes. That happens sometimes. So a good way to get a mink back when they're all startled is just to set the trap down and step back, and so you're not there crowding them and making them more nervous, and then they'll go in the trap just fine, whereas if you were there trying to call them to come to you, they might not. So teaching them to go into the trap is very useful, and it's easy. It's super easy compared to teaching them to come to you. So anyway, so I reinforced that after he's been out on the line exercising. I just turn him loose, let him walk around the yard for a minute, call him, let him eat his breakfast in the trap. So this is what I use to get the harness off with the really mean mink like Piranha. Pretty much mostly just Piranha, but some of the other girls I do a little bit with. This is just a wire hook. I just take a wire and make a hook out of it. And this allows me to pull it off without making her as mad as I would if I just kind of held her down and took it off. Piranha, the whole time she's been nailing my boot, nailing my knee, everything she can bite. So I get this hook around the back end here if I can. There we go. Oops.
Woo!
Sorry, babe. Hold on, Piranha. Oh, you don't need to bite the wire hook. Oh, quit. Piranha, quit.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get you away from the crack. There we go. So you just hook it in there, make it loose. Whew. So I got the first half off, now I got to hook it again and get it off her neck. You're biting my boot, you little stink. There we go. Now she's freed. Now we're in trouble. Oh, I didn't even think about it. You don't have boots on, babe.
I got this cuss.
Okay, stay back, because she will bite your ankles. Like she's trying to bite me here. If these boots were any shorter, she'd have already got me. In fact, I really should be wearing like hip boots then, or chaps. Need to wear some chaps. Okay, come on, little stink. Hey. Look at her. You are a vicious beast, Piranha. You live up to your name. Like she's like attacking my foot every step.
Don't get close to me.
Yeah, I know. Stay back, sweetheart. So I gotta go get her food before she gets Maggie. There you go, look. Okay, so these guys are in between. These guys are from a different litter. They're not quite as nice as Bear, but they're not anywhere near as mean as Piranha. So they're kind of in between. They might get me, but they probably won't. Hey, big guy, you let me pick you up? Oh, relax. Let me pick you up. Let me pick you up. So one of the tricks I use, if I think they might bite at my hand, is I'll just kind of blindfold them with this board. So they can't see my, so they can't see my hand coming. They tend to do a little better when they can't see it coming. get out and run around, big guy? And you notice these guys, this is a male kit, obviously. He's nowhere near as big as bear. Way bigger than the females, of course, but not quite bear status. So let's take him out. So you'll see he's nowhere near as big as bear. Still a big guy because he's a male, but he's not monstrous like bear. So since I'm done feeding and watering, I can actually pay attention to these guys. So these guys I'm just going to turn loose rather than put on the line and let them run around the yard. See if we could do that without getting bit. He's kind of stiffing up on me. Hey, relax, relax. Relax, big guy. You don't need to bite me. No, we're friends. Remember, we're friends. Don't bite me. No. There you go. Come on in. Who's next? Good girl. Now this one, her name is Ote. We have Ita and Ote. Grandote in Spanish means big, and chiquita in Spanish means small. So it's Ita and Ote. This is Ote. She's so big I sometimes confuse her for a male. Let's see if she'll let me catch her here without getting bit. Oh, Ote, you're okay. Good girl. Ote's usually quite a bit easier than Ita. And she was again. She's a good girl, huh?
Can I see your face?
Huh, Ote? Should we go out and play with your brother? Come on, let's go out and play with your brother. Okay, so here's Ita. Ita's not near as bad, not even close as Little Miss Piranha, but she does like to get me, and she is more jumpy than Ote, her sister. Now Ita, one thing that she is really good at is getting out. So she often gets away when you're trying to get her. Rather than biting you, she's more likely to just sneak out and run off. Which, run off, obviously I've got two separate fences to keep them in. I mean, like she gets out when you're not intending her to, and runs around under the cages and is really annoying to catch. So a lot of times with Ita, I do this with the glove. Not so much because she's gonna bite me, that is part of the problem, but more so she doesn't get out when I'm trying to catch her. So, yeah, see? Oh,
She's
perfect.
gone.
Excellent. Good job, Ita. That was my plan all along. She'd go right out the door. Okay, and now the last brother. Good job, big guy. Oh, relax, relax. All right, Spot, go join your siblings, huh? There you go. So I've got here just a rabbit hide lure. Dried piece of rabbit skin is all it is. Domestic rabbit skin. Wild rabbit skin's paper thin and just rips. Domestic rabbit skin is tough and durable in comparison. So it's domestic rabbit skin tied to a string. Good job, Midnight. Good girl. It's Spot. Hi, Spot. You missed out. What are you being a wuss for, Spot? Oh, good job, Midnight. Midnight. Good job, Ote. Come on, Ote. So I'll just play around with them like this, let them chase a lure. You guys playing around, huh? Come on, Mischief. Or no, that was Rio. No, that was Mischief. This one's Rio, and that one's Mischief. It's hard to tell when they're swimming around like that. Oh, look, she's going under.
So fun watching them play. It looks so much fun. Like so much fun.
See Rio right here, and Mischief in the back. Come here, Mischief. Mischief, there's Mischief right here. Hey.
Hey.
So my plan with all these mink, so you see I've got all 4 of these siblings. They are, you know, used to being around each other. They've lived with each other their whole life. Got a pair of 2 brothers, 2 sisters. And my hope is I'm going to try and keep them to be continually friendly with each other. That's the idea. Obviously, we'll have to separate for breeding season and such. So my hope is with keeping all 4 of these mink together, that they will stay friendly with each other and we'll be able to hunt them together. Obviously, I might not be able to house them together as they mature, especially during breeding season. But the idea is that these guys will hopefully be able to hunt together. I've never hunted with 2 mink at the same time, so this should be the first time ever to hunt with a group of mink. It'll be pretty cool thinking of all 4 of these mink chasing the same muskrat, or going in after a pile of, you know, 20 rats at the same time, and all 4 of these mink. It'll be pretty cool, so we'll see how it works out. We're very likely to run into some issues, especially as they mature, but we'll have to just see. I have high hopes that we'll be able to hunt them together and have the first mink pack. So stay tuned and you'll be able to see how these guys develop and if we're able to actually hunt them together or whether it's just doesn't work. But for now, they're sure having fun. You guys having fun? You ready for breakfast yet? Hey, what are you doing, Ita? Get off there. You're gonna get your toes bit. Get off there, Ita. Oh, it's because of these. Oh, there's a piece of meat. Look at that. Ita smelled this piece of meat. She climbed up the wall. She climbed up the wire and jumped right there. Come on, Ita. Are you hungry? Come down. Hey, you guys.
Yeah, there we go.
No fighting. Hey, no fighting. Stay down. Go play, Ita. Be nice.
And that is why we usually don't keep mink together.
Yeah.
They fight.
Yeah, that's why in the past I've always kept my mink separate, right there. But I've been able to, fortunately, I've been able to get these 2 to get along. And we've been able to get these 4 to get along so far. So, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing, Rio? You silly mink. She's saying, hey, you haven't fed me yet. You turn off the video and feed me, huh, Rio? Huh, hey, Mischief. So everyone's been asking how Mamba's doing. We haven't had a Born to Hunt video for a little while. So here's Mamba. Part of my routine, obviously, is getting out Mamba every day and training her. Do that at least once, sometimes twice a day. We're not going to show that as part of the routine. This video is already long enough. But yeah, here's Mamba. So if you like this video, I know this is different from my typical video, so if you like it, tell me in the comments below and click on the like button both, and I'll do more videos like this. While I'm feeding the cages and cleaning the... The cages need to grow big and strong, right? So, while I'm cleaning the cages and feeding the mink, these guys are out here.
Sorry.
Did you say it backwards again?
No, I'm just not recovered. Okay, go.